Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat for you. But if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting related content. And I would love if you would like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's all be friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome. Thanks for coming back. So I am currently working on the Lynn mystery kit from Dreamer Designs. As you can see, I just have this little spot right here exposed, and I have the rest of it blocked off with release paper. So if you are somebody who does not want to see what it is that mystery kit is, I'm going to do my best to keep the parts that I've already worked on covered. Or I can zoom really far in, and you're just seeing like really blurry on the canvas. You guys tell me what you'd like, what's the best way to do it, because obviously I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I'd like to be able to do a WIP Chat without having to start a second canvas. But I didn't think that this one little square piece right here was gonna give anything away. So, but if you're new here and you have no idea what a WIP Chat is, or, you know, a WIP Chat is, WIP is WIP, work in progress, and it's when I work on my current WIP, which, as I mentioned, is the Lynn mystery from Dreamer Designs. If you'd like to see the unboxing for that, I will leave that up in the eye. I will make sure that I put in the title of these, like, may contain spoilers, if that's something that is, you know, an issue. I will be working on this for quite some time. It is a 60 by 80, so it's not going to be like, oh, I'll work on it for like another week or two and it'll be done. No. So, anywho, but I will work on my current WIP. You guys can work on whatever it is that you are working on. It can be another craft project, a household project. It can be while you're doing chores, while you're running errands, while you are cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, while you're driving, while you're working, however it is you want to do it. People leave them on in the background the same way they would with a podcast. I'm looking for a color that's already on my desk, so that's smart. But like I always say, there is no right way or wrong way to WIP Chat. So I hope that you guys are all well. I don't know if I had an eventful week or not. I feel like at this time in my life, I can't remember what I did 3 minutes ago. And it's 100% true. If it is not on my calendar, it does not exist. So I'm going to do my best to keep this all covered. And then once I'm done with that section, I will move the paper over a little bit. Maybe then I'll zoom in. I don't know. You guys tell me what the best way to handle this is. Or are you somebody that's like, it's just a WIP Chat, Lindsay. I don't really care. I'm not going to see anything. I'm not going to be looking up. So, but I hope that you are all well. I hope everybody had a lovely week. When you guys see this, I put it up. It'll be April 1st. And I feel like I probably should have addressed this sooner. But I'm not a fan of pranks. I don't think pranks are funny. I don't think pranks are honestly, like, worth it. And I think a lot of times people have, like, real malicious intent. So if you are somebody who thinks that doing, announcing a fake pregnancy is a good idea on social media or wherever, like, please just remove yourself now. I think a lot of people don't think how hurtful that could be, especially with the millions of people who suffer from fertility or secondary infertility issues, and or people who just pine for a life they can't have. And some people don't want kids, and that's totally cool too. I had a friend of mine a couple years back, and she thought it was hilarious and, like, could not understand why it upset people. And it's not a matter of, like, oh, people are so offended by everything nowadays. No, like, that's, like, tacky. So, and my husband has an acquaintance who thinks that, like, April Fool's Day jokes are the funniest things. But his are all, like, oh my God, I finally got the job of my dreams. And then having all these people being like, congratulations, just to be like, haha, suckers. And I'm like, that's not funny. I don't think that's funny. Do you guys think that's funny? And I absolutely hate, like, the ones where people are like, I'm going to pull a prank on my husband or my wife, and I'm going to put a pie in their face. And it's like, no. Or, like, a couple, like, last year, the year before, it wasn't a April Fool's Day, but it was still something that bothered me. I'm sure you guys have seen it if you've been on social media. The woman who she completed a puzzle and picked it up to show her husband, and he punched right through it, and the whole thing fell apart. And then they came back, and they were like, it was just a joke. And I was like, it was not just a joke. Like, first of all, that's a walking red flag. Second of all, the look on her face tells you that that was definitely not something she had knowledge of. She did not find it funny, and yeah. So I'm just here to be your friendly reminder. Also, can we talk about adulting real quick? Before I get super into, like, the WIP Chat part of my WIP Chat, or I guess the chatting part of my WIP Chat, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Where is that color? Did I not pull it out? The one that looks like an alien. What do you guys call this, by the way? Oh, where's the camera? I call that an alien. Excuse me. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Damn it. I did a Walmart order today, and the real, like, sign of, like, real true adulting is that you get so excited when you have no substitutions in your order. Now, that wasn't me. I had substitutions, but someone out there got their order, grocery order, whatever it may be, with no substitutions. And I hope that you have, I hope that luck carries and follows you, you know? Anyway, yeah, I was a little bit bummed. I don't know what I did, because usually it, like, sends me an email and asks me to approve the substitutions, and it didn't this time. I was like, what did I click on? Because sometimes they want to substitute things, and you're like, I can't have that brand, or don't want that brand, or don't want twice as many of something, or half as many of something, you know? Anyway, but yeah, I did a grocery order today. And to tell you that, like, ADHD paralysis is a real thing. So, first of all, can we stop allowing a grocery order to be made if your window is going to close within, like, 3 minutes of that time? Because I picked the 12 to 2 time slot. That was the first time slot available when I went this morning. So, I pick it. Great. Start putting things in my cart. And then the little icon next to my cart disappears. And it's like, oh, your time has expired. Okay. So, my 12 to 2 expired at 8:45. So I could pick 1 to 3 that would expire in an hour at 9:45. It doesn't take me an hour to put in my groceries, but sometimes, you know, I need to text my husband to make sure there's nothing that I'm missing that he needed, or, you know, like little things like that. So I just wanted to make sure, and I was like, okay, cool, here we go. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to sit here, and I can't really get much done. By the time I got it done, it was close to the 9:45, but that was only because of, like, me, not because it took that long to put stuff in. So then I'm like, well, I can't go upstairs and record because I need to wait for that email to approve or deny any substitutions, because if they ran out of an ingredient that I needed for tonight's dinner, for example, then I was going to have to physically go to the grocery store, preferably before I go pick up my kiddo from school, because I don't want to take her with me, because that's always a nightmare. And I was like, maybe I could take a shower now. And then I was like, I don't really feel like taking a shower now. So I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, how long is this going to take? Like, I literally was stuck in my room for I don't know how many hours, because I was worried that I was going to miss the email, because you only have a short window when they send you that email to approve it. And turns out they didn't send me an email at all, and they also replaced 2 products. So, and in case anyone's curious, no, I did not get that shower. My hopes is when I'm done recording this that I will have just enough time to go take a shower before I have to go pick up my kiddo. If not, then it'll happen later, or I don't want to do tomorrow morning, because tomorrow morning I have morning ice, and I don't want to be waking up at like 4:30 in the morning. So anyway, I hope that you guys are all having a lovely weekend, week, whatever you want to call it. How's the weather near you? Let me know that, because right now, currently, like right before I came up to film, it was like 77 degrees, I think. So it's nice and warm. The day before got up to be nice and warm, and then yesterday dropped like 30 degrees. I also, if you are somebody who dresses children for school, I don't care if your child is 3 or, they're an adult and they live on their own now, but you did this for some time. When you have weather that is like freezing temperatures in the morning, but like summer in the afternoon, what do you dress them like? Because my child is always like, it's going to be warm. I want to wear shorts. I want to wear a skirt, or I want to wear this. And I'm like, you're going to be freezing. And the other day, she didn't believe me. And I was like, all right, girlfriend. And wouldn't you know, despite the fact that it was going to be like 70 degrees in the afternoon, and I told her she didn't need gloves in the morning, she got real mad at me because her hands were so cold walking to school. She was also wearing a fleece jacket. So today I put her in, because she had gym class today. So I put her in leggings and a t-shirt, and I put her in a little denim jacket. But like those days where it's like truly cold in the morning and then like super, super warm in the afternoon, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to dress her. I don't know how to do it. I feel like there has to be something better than what I'm doing. All right, let's see if I can kind of cover. I can't cover it completely. Hopefully that's all right. And if it's not, maybe I will have to start a second whip, which I don't want to do, but water break. I was somewhere that had an ice maker this weekend, and I was like, all you people with your fancy ice makers, I want one. I don't have one. I technically do have one, but it doesn't work. It hasn't worked in years. And there's a lot more pressing things in my life than like, let's go spend a crap ton of money on a new appliance just so I can get a working ice maker. And I know you're thinking, why don't you just do ice trays? Ice trays don't work very well, especially because the water in my house itself is not very cold. So even if I fill the fridge with like the freezer trays of ice cubes, I put those in my tumbler, and then I put the like lukewarm water from my faucet in, all of a sudden I've got like 3 ice cubes left. So frustrating. So Sunday, let's talk about the week. Sunday, we didn't really do anything. My husband had to work, and I was like, I've got no plans, and I have nowhere that I want to be, so you could take the car. I'm going to stay home. I don't think I did anything that day. Like, I literally think I just rotted on my couch kind of situation. If you guys watched last week's WIP Chat, you heard me say my husband and I were, like, in the midst of some, like, serious deep spring cleaning recently, and it definitely caught up, and I have just been, like, blah. My body hurts. Let me see if I can find this color. 31 and 30. Look at that. I will say, I do like the fact that one of the special drills for this kit is a crystal from Dreamer Designs, and it's not. They've been doing a ton of that 5200 crystal lately, and I have not been digging that, because that's great if you're using it like in water, like on the icy caps, not the icy caps, like the foamy part of the ocean. I feel like my words are just not working. Like that might be great for something like that, because they're clear. If you guys didn't know, they're like silver. So they're not a good replacement for white. And they've been using them for things that like need to be white. But I also saw that they have their own dust drills now, whatever we're calling them. I think they call them Dreamer Dust. They actually put out a post calling them fairy dust drills. And I was like, I feel like you're going to get in trouble with that. And then like within an hour, it was taken down and replaced with their Dreamer Dust or whatever they renamed it. Which, if you guys didn't know, the reason that would have been a problem is because Diamond Art Club actually like owns the rights to that name. At least that's my understanding. I have no inner workings of anything. I feel like there was something really important I wanted to say. Probably wasn't that important if I didn't say it, right? I'm gonna shift over. If you guys can hear the fan going, it's because my house doesn't understand what the weather is either. And we've got like smart thermostats. I went downstairs and it had jumped the heat back up again. But thankfully it was warm enough in the house that the heat didn't kick on. It's supposed to be like once it hits a certain temperature, the heat goes on. but that temperature changes throughout the day based off of like when they see us adjusting it. This is very annoying. I am going to need to come up with another solution. If you guys have ever, if you're creators or you watch creators who have done this, like have ever done like a WIP Chat on a mystery canvas, let me know how other people have done it. I've done them before, but I don't remember what I did. Excuse me, that was a very long time ago. I did the Ivy Dollamore. Maybe I just didn't do it for WIP Chats. I don't remember. I really don't remember. Now it's going to drive me crazy. And I don't really feel like pulling up my old videos and watching them just to see what I did. You know? Anyway, so that was Sunday. Oh my gosh. You guys, I feel like I'm like a good 10-15 minutes into this video and I've talked about a whole lot of nothing except for my Walmart grocery order. I'm going to take another sip real quick. Last year at the retreat, we had somebody brought one of those tabletop ice makers. Oh my god, we went through that so quickly. Which, if anybody saw in my last video, I said there was 2 spots. There are still 2 spots available, at least at the time of this recording. If you are interested, I will have it in the description below as well. But it seems like there are people out there who are finding our retreat information, but not actually like reading it. And I've been told there's no information. I'm like, it's literally all right there. But if you're curious, it is the first weekend in May, like in a month from now. It is in central Pennsylvania, right outside of Harrisburg. And we would absolutely love to have you. There are 2 spots remaining. As I mentioned, if we don't fill those, we don't fill those. And we'll just go with the amazing humans we have now. Many are returning, some are new. And we would just love to have you. And yeah. So Monday, my daughter had off of school. Totally coincidental when I booked the appointment. But we took my husband to work, and then the plan was, actually, we took him to work, and then we came back so my kiddo could get ready. And then we went to the dentist, and as I suspected, my daughter needs an appointment with the orthodontist. Gross. I knew it. My kiddo, like, her baby teeth have been super, super tight together, which is not normal or typical. I believe, like, you're supposed to be able to put, like, an entire business card, like, that kind of thickness between each baby tooth. Obviously, some kids have that, some kids don't. Mine didn't. So now that her grown-up teeth are starting to come in, there's nowhere for them to go. So they are just crowding on each other and having a party, and there is absolutely no room for her teeth. Like, her front tooth, she lost her 2 front teeth earlier this year, and the one is growing in, like, literally in front of the tooth next to it. So eventually that tooth is gonna get loose on its own, and if it doesn't, that tooth next to it or on top of it is gonna push it. But they won't put in a palate expander or any kind of orthodontics, is that what you would call it? Orthodontic equipment, whatever, until the first set of permanent molars are fully intact. And apparently hers have erupted, but they're not all there yet. So, I don't know. But I'm just like, oh. You know? I mentioned this when she was a baby, and of course it was like, no, that's what everybody's baby teeth look like. And I'm like, no, that's not what everybody's baby teeth look like. So, but they could also explain some of the breathing issues that we had. Anyway, we went to the dentist. She loves going to the dentist because she gets a little prize. Now, I don't know if she's going to love it as much when she needs, like, actual dental work done. And we have discussed with her many times on, we knew she was going to need a palate expander. We just didn't know, like, we'd be having those conversations this young. Did I just totally miss an entire drill, or am I off? I will say this drill field has been very, very snug. And for me, I didn't start like in the corner. I don't usually start like in the actual corner. I usually pick like a color that's prominent in the area that I'm working in and lay those down and then just kind of go like what's around it and build it in. I think if I had started in the exact corner, that everything would have been shifted over. So we'll see. I am just on the bottom row, so I don't really know what like the overall effect is going to be. But I will tell you, a lot of precision is needed, and I am not a precise diamond painter. And one of the things I like about squares, typically, is when you place them down, they'll like correct the ones around it. But that's not happening when there is no place to go. And somebody asked me the other day, and I will stand by it 100%. I'd rather my canvas be full of too many gaps than to be too tight, because gaps, you can do something about them to an extent. Over time, they'll tighten anyway because the glue will cure some more. But if you really wanted to put like mica powder down, you could. Or you could just be someone that's like, it's meant to be viewed at a distance. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But if they're too tight and they're popping, there's nothing you can do. So, my 2 cents so far, I've worked on this. Like, this is the 3rd day that I've worked on this canvas. So, yeah. So, anyway, after the dentist, we went and got coffee. So, if you guys have been following, Erica and I did, it's called the Java Journey. It's a local to us, local coffee shops submit themselves and they have like a specialty drink. And you get a passport and you go around and you try to get all your stamps from your passport and things like that. And you have a chance of winning a prize pack at the end. I didn't care about the prize pack. I was just excited that, because Erica and I do regularly get coffee together, we were excited to find like some new spots or new to us spots. Unfortunately for me, all of the spots that are really good, like my favorites of all of them, were either near her or even past where she lives. And one of the ones that I really liked, which was my number 2 drink, I think her number 1 drink, and my 1st, 2nd, and 3rd favorite drinks are who won 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So apparently I have the palate of a standard person in my area. Which is really funny. A couple of years ago, this is more than a couple of years ago, because this was before Briar, my husband and I went to a restaurant, and we were talking, and he was really surprised that we were enjoying the food, and not in like a, you like my food, but in a, well, people in this area have a really bland palate, and then my husband's like, I'm from this area, and he was like, oh. That restaurant's no longer there. It's actually a different restaurant that we go to all the time. But yeah, that was fun. But anyway, I took my kiddo. I said, you want to go on a little coffee date with mommy after your dentist? And she's like, yeah. So we did, and I got a cup of coffee, and she got a lemonade, and we got to talking to the owner and his wife, and they're very, very sweet. And I'm hoping that they, because they kind of hinted at maybe expanding, I hope that's something that they will do. I would love for them to have a second location closer to me. Not that I don't, like, ever go out that way, but it would also be nice on those days after I drop my kiddo off from school, like, to go get myself a cup of coffee without having to drive, like, an hour round trip. You know? I don't know if any coffee is really good for just doing an hour round trip. I mean, maybe. Do you guys have any coffee shops like that near you? Let me know. So, anyway, after the dentist, we came back home. She had a chiropractor appointment scheduled for the morning, but they called me because the chiropractor actually, like, fell down the stairs. She's okay. But in that moment, she was like, I'm not going to be able to make it in until later. So we rescheduled for the afternoon, which worked out just fine. And my kiddo also likes going to the chiropractor. And now I'm just realizing, did I reschedule her for her next one or not? I'll have to look at my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. But it's tough. I think I did. Because I think I scheduled it. There's another day she has off coming up that's like a holiday. Or spring break or something. Which My husband texted me the other day, and he's like, it is so busy at work. He's like, some of these schools already have off for spring break. I'm like, they do. And then they also get an additional break for spring break. I don't know if Easter is later than normal this year or what. But yeah. He works in something that's touristy, so yeah. Let me see. Saw my phone light up. I was making sure it was nothing like super important. It does not appear. It just appears to be a group chat pinging. Let me know your thoughts on group chats. I think I've been pretty vocal on my dislike in general of group chats. Oh, it says poop. I'm a 4-year-old, don't mind me. So anyway, after we came home, we had a little bit of a nap time, whatever. And then we went to the chiropractor, which was super nice. I really enjoyed that. And then after the chiropractor, we went right to get my husband. It was my craft night that I go to the library with Erica, and we craft our little hearts out. And one of the other girls had recently had a baby, so now there are 2 new moms there with their babies. And I'm like, we are building the next generation of craft night here. So that was fun. I always enjoy going to craft night. You get to meet people from like all over the place. There's one guy there who is a teacher at the high school, but he started making quilts, I think like a year ago, and I was like, holy shit, like this dude is unbelievable. And he downplays it so much, and I was like, you realize these are like professional quality quilts you're making? Like they're incredible. I'm totally in awe because I can't use a sewing machine at all, and yeah. But I went to craft night. Brian and Briar did whatever Brian and Briar do. I always suggest to them on the nights that like I'm not around for whatever reason, like that's the night to be like, let's make burgers or chicken or something else mommy doesn't eat, instead of like, let's eat the food that mommy likes. But that's just a me thing. You know, I feel like the same thing with Briar. She's always like, let's do something super bougie when it's just her and I. And I'm like, girl, you have expensive taste. I know it's my fault, but, you know. But it's true. Have you guys seen the memes where it's like kids nowadays, like when we were a kid, like McDonald's is like, oh my God, that was your special treat. And then like now kids are like, I want sushi. I want crab boils. I want this. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. I haven't been asked for crabs in a while. Probably because the last time we went and got crabs, mommy was... I get really frustrated because my husband does not order crab legs. I order the crab legs and I share them with her. But the problem is she wants them and she wants them now. And so she's eating them faster than I can break them apart. And then by the time she's eaten her portion of them, I have just started to do mine. And she's like, I'm all done. And has zero chill or patience or anything like that. And then I just feel like the entire time it's work. Like I'm cracking everybody's food and I'm rushing to eat. And it's not the most enjoyable of experiences when it's like that. Now, I don't know. I'll teach her how to do it, I guess. But at this moment in time, she can't even figure out how to open up like prepackaged food sometimes. Sometimes, most of the times, I should say most of the times. Anyway, what else do we do? Oh, and then Erica and I went out. We usually grab a bite to eat after our craft night, and we were real adults, and I was like, do you want to just do, like, I'm thinking appetizers and desserts. She's like, I'm thinking appetizers and desserts. So that's what we did. I had one of those, like, skillet cookies and an order of pierogies, and I was in heaven. Yeah, so we only have the craft night once a month. Sometimes I actually go to her house, shock and awe, and I actually craft with her. But Sometimes it doesn't happen. Or sometimes it goes and it's like a really long time. You know, she also has like her own life and the shop and, you know, adult stuff. Anyway, Tuesday. Tuesday we went to Morning Ice. That was a real simple day. She was really bummed because the night before when she was with Brian, she had asked, Daddy, can we go get sushi? And he's like, I don't really want to go get sushi. And she was super bummed out. So when we got her like from school, or we picked up my husband, or whatever time of day it was the conversation was had, I was like, I know you didn't get to go get sushi yesterday. Do you still want to go get sushi? And she was like, ooh. It turned into hibachi, which we did. And then she made such a big deal about wanting hibachi. And then she's like, can I get some edamame? I'm like, sure. She eats the edamame. And then she's like, I'm all full now. Girl, you need to eat more than 2 bites of your hibachi. That was frustrating. But like, I don't mind doing it for lunch, because the lunch, like, it's almost the same size portion, and it's a fraction of the price. But, man, dinner just feels wasteful if she doesn't eat that much. Man, you ever do that? You, like, misgauge how many drills are on your pen, so you knock one off, and then you realize, oh, no, I had the right amount. What color is that one? There we go. That's why it's all the way over there. That's my ringtone, FYI, in case anyone cares. My Super Mario Brothers ringtone that I've had on my phone for quite some time. I also have a very old phone, so her coach said to me the one day, because she has I have an Android and she has an iPhone, and she gets very upset that I can't like take like long videos and send them to her. And I can do them via, like, a Google link, but the internet is so crap at the rink that it takes forever to upload. And by the time I upload it and get it to her and she opens it, like, that moment has already passed. So she gets a little frustrated because, like, she can't film Briar and play the music at the same time. And I'm like, that's not my responsibility, right? I didn't realize that was part of, like, my requirements as a mom of a skater to have equipment that they can film on, especially because she's told me before she doesn't want me sitting in there while my kid skates, which that is never gonna not happen. I mean, I can't say never, but like at this point in her life, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be like, okay, I'm leaving. But if she wants to buy me a new phone, sure. But other than that, I'm gonna keep the same old ass phone that I have until it stops working. Period. Yeah. So, anyway, if you guys have any tips on how to share files really quickly from an Android to an iPhone with shitty internet service, I'm all ears. Let me know. But anyway, so she had Morning Ice. She did really good that day. Like, really, really good. I was really impressed. She just got her sow cow pretty good, like, last week, I think. So it was nice. Maybe that was the day she got it. I don't remember. That might have been the day she got it. But it was very lovely to... It's lovely to see. Lovely. Who am I? But anyway, Wednesday, I was like, I don't feel like driving anyone anywhere. The weather was nice. So he took the car to work. We just walked to and from school. The one day, she was like, oh, it's cold out. Can we drive? And I was like, it's not cold out. It's just cooler out. And no, we're not going to drive. I literally live like 2 blocks from the school. But she wasn't having any of that. I am finding this very, very difficult to do a WIP Chat while working on a mystery kit. Normally, I'm pretty good at, floating around. But this requires a lot more attention. So if I seem a little bit more like out of it, it's because I absolutely am. I'm now thinking maybe this was a mistake and I should get a smaller little kit. I have Orange Blossom. It was one of those of the newer strawberry shortcake kits that they released. I got her as you know when you buy from Diamond Art Club, how sometimes you get offered like the mystery deal, and it's like 50% off of a kit that's not selling well or overstock or whatever. I figured out that it was that one, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, she's a cutie. She's little. She would be good as like one of those kinds of projects where, you know, lots of color blocking, bright colors, easy to maneuver. So I have been thinking for a while, like she'd be a good in-between project, like a nice little palette cleanser, or an on-the-go project for craft night and things like that. So maybe I'll consider that for next week. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I have no idea what's going on right now. I don't have any idea what's going on right now. I really just wonder, like, does anybody truly have a clue what the fuck is going on in their lives or around them? Because I sure as shit do not. And I am constantly like, how am I considered an adult? I know, like, legally I am an adult like 3.5 times over, but mentally I'm not there. You know? Like what kind of how am I in charge of someone? Like what? Yeah. So total tangent. I don't need to go on that. But then we went to you guys, I feel like I asked this last year. Where I live, it's such a thing, and I never heard of them growing up. But because Easter is upon us, a lot of places do like homemade peanut butter eggs, which are basically like a homemade Reese's peanut butter cup, obviously in the shape of an egg. And they are incredible. And so Brian's like, do you want to just go? There's a restaurant in my town called Lisa's. And it's pretty good, like, American fare, like sandwiches, salads. Nothing too fancy, but they just do it well. And they sell homemade peanut butter eggs. And he had seen on Facebook that they were now available. So, yes, you can go there and just buy the eggs without having a meal. But we were like, well, let's just do 2 birds, 1 stone. It's been a very stressful time in our house. And so, yeah, sometimes, like, I just don't have the mental capacity or the energy to be in the kitchen. So, if ever you guys hear and you're like, wow, they go out to eat a lot. Sometimes we do, and it's strictly because, like, my bank is empty. I am tapped so out that I have to make decisions, you know? Anyway, so we went and got the peanut butter eggs. And then the next day, we had off. She had school photos when my kid was in kindergarten. We had no idea that they did second photos later in the school year. And I was like, what are these about? Like, I already paid you, I want to say it was like $50 too. It was ridiculous how expensive school photos are. But we paid for her photos and all that. And I absolutely love her kindergarten photos. And I was like, I'm not buying a second class photo. Like, why do I need a second class photo? To show me how much my kid has changed throughout the year? Okay. That's what my personal photos are for, right? I don't need to pay the school for that. Well, now they're not doing a second they're doing second photo that's a class photo. And I'm like, I don't want to pay $15 to get a single copy of the group photo. I just dropped that drill and it was broken. Is this it? Yeah. So my daughter said something about how her teacher was going to post it in Dojo, and I was like, really? If she is, like, cool. There's another mom in the class that's like super, super into photos, and I know she got it because she was like, I wish that they did 2 photos a year every year. And I was like, I do not. Like, I love my kid, and I think she's cute AF, but I don't need to pay upwards of $100 for class photos. And if you're going, just get the digital package is almost more expensive because then they do like, you can't just buy like one digital photo because they know you're going to go print them or you're going to go send them out or whatever. So they charge you a shit ton more. Excuse the rant, but seriously, like, I don't need, or if you're going to say we have photos twice a year, include the class photo in the price of the other photos. Or I don't know, do the class photo in the beginning of the year. Now, I guess for her class, it's probably beneficial that they didn't, because in the beginning of the year, they lost a student. She didn't pass away. She just moved. Sorry, that sounded terrible. And then she got a new student recently. So obviously, if she had gotten class photos in September, it would have looked different than it does now. But I feel like we live in such a digital age that I can just be like, who bought them? Can you just scan it and give me a copy? Hopefully. Maybe. I don't know. I think they also give you the option once they, like, get the photos that you can still buy them even if you didn't buy the package. Where's that colorist working on? That color. I'm literally using 310 right now. That is the only color. Does anybody else do that? Somebody else was shocked that I do that. I do that with, like, all of my, like, Hannah, Mandy Manzano, all of those types of kits. Or, like, I do the black outline first and then I fill it all in. And I try to do ABs towards the end because they like to suck my wax out. But sometimes it's not possible. So anyway, she went and had her spring photos. And I don't remember what we wore. Which means, yay. But I also had to coordinate it because, you know, they have school photos. But I think they also had gym that day. And I was like, or something that required art. I think it was art. So I couldn't send her in something that she could get, like, real messy. I had to send her in something she could get messy in. Jeez, Lindsay. Because she had art class. So I didn't want to send her in, like, something really fancy. She was like, can I wear my Elphaba dress? Now, we have this dress. It's Elphaba inspired. And it is, like, a black fancy dress. And it has, like, a green glitter inlay and cold shoulders that are not really cold shoulders because they have, like, a mesh lining there. But it's super pretty. It was from, like, a Wicked collection, so it's, like, inspired by the characters, but it's not something that, like, Elphaba wore or anything like that. They had the pink and black, they had the pink dress, and they had the green and black dress, and anyway, she wants to wear this Elphaba dress, like, all the time, and I'm like, we have nowhere fancy to take, despite the fact that she's bougie. And she keeps asking me, can I wear it to school? No, girl, it is, like, a nice dress. It's not like a dress-up dress, which also I'm not letting you wear your dress-up dress. She asked me that today, too. She's like, you're never going to let me wear the Elphaba dress, right? I mean, the Glinda dress. No, girl, that's literally a dress-up dress. Unless they have a theme day where it would work, you know. Anyway, so my husband and I, we went and got therapeutic massages. And the one thing that's nice is these are done through our my chiropractor's office. And because it's done as like a medical service, we can use our Flex card, or like HSA or FSA or whatever SA card it is towards that. You just have to pay for the tip on your own. I'm like, that's not a problem. So we each had a half hour, and I was sitting in the lobby. He went first, and I have my headphones plugged into my phone, and I'm listening to a podcast, and I'm like giggling away. And then he comes out, and I was like, do you want my headphones? And he was like, yeah, that'd be great. And he's like, I don't have anywhere to put these. And I was like, what? And he's like, there's not an outlet in my phone. And I was like, what? I didn't realize, like, new phones legit don't have a headphone jack. Like, I understand you can do Bluetooth headphones, because I have a pair of Bluetooth headphones. I don't know where they are. I haven't used them in forever. I do not like the in-ear headphones. Like, my ears already itch 99.9% of the time, so putting something in there doesn't make me feel better. And I was like, what? I did not know. Like, why did we get rid of that? I understand it's to force people to buy, like, other technology and things like that, but I don't want to go and buy an expensive pair of Bluetooth headphones. I want to be able to put in my, like, $5, like, Walmart brand corded headphones that I have, or earbuds, or whatever they're called. But yeah, that's when I realized, like, my phone really is that old. But yeah, the massages were great. We really enjoyed that. And then we had a fun afternoon of adulting ahead of us. We, our home security system stopped working. And he's like, I think we need to replace the tablet part. Now, we have Xfinity Comcast, which I absolutely despise. But it is what it is, and that's what we're working with. So, we have the keypad that turns on and off the alarm, and then we also have the tablet that has to remain plugged in for the keypad to work, which this is also one of my, like, big pain in the ass gripes that I have with, like, the home security is that tablet needs to be plugged in. What happens when I don't have power? And it's like, well, it runs on batteries. Okay. So the lady, eventually, later in the day, a customer service agent called me and was like, have you tried with the batteries? Which, it wasn't the batteries. The whole tablet was dead. But we go to Xfinity. There's like a storefront location near us. And we went, and I walk in, and immediately I am struck by the fact that everyone who works there is very young. Now, don't get me wrong. Young people deserve to learn the inner workings of a job and deserve to be working and all that. And this is definitely one of those, like, when did I get so old moments? So I'm sitting there, and every one of them is Gen Z. And there's 2 women on the floor and a guy at a desk. And he's like, can I help you guys? So we went back to him at his desk. And the 2 women were helping other customers. And he's literally sitting there. He's got his phone on his desk while he's talking to us. And he's just scrolling the TikTok. And then he's, like, looking up at us. I'm thinking, you can't just not scroll TikTok for, like, a couple minutes here? Like, when there's no customers in the store, I get it. But you're literally sitting face to face with 2 paying customers and you're still scrolling your TikTok. And then one of the women says to him, I'm assuming he was the manager, says to him, hey, you know, it's showing that we don't have any of the accessories this guy wants in store. You know, are there any in the back? And he's like, no, whatever it says is what we have. And she's like, well, it says we don't have any. Which I can understand when you're doing, like, you're trying to close a cell phone sale and you can't give them accessories or sell them accessories. It makes it frustrating because, like, why am I going to buy my phone from you and then go somewhere else to get what I need? So she goes in the back and he's sitting there talking to us. And she comes back out and she goes, well, I found all these accessories in a box on the floor. And he goes, yeah, those haven't been checked in yet. And she's like, so he's like, you can't sell them. They're not in our inventory yet. And she's like, oh, well, then we don't have any accessories. And he's like, I already told you we don't have any if it says we don't have any. So as soon as she walks away, he just looks at us and he's like, you can tell he's super annoyed. And I'm thinking, you're annoyed by her asking her manager questions while I'm annoyed that you're sitting here on your cell phone scrolling TikTok. And then he tells us, oh, we don't replace those units in store. Oh, okay. He's like, I can get a tech to come out. Sure. So he's sitting there, and while everything's loading, he picks his phone back up and he starts scrolling TikTok again. And I was like, I swear to God, like, does he not realize how insanely unprofessional this is? And this is not a store where people are in it all day long. You know what I mean? Like, you've got plenty of time. You can be scrolling your TikTok when there's not a paying customer right in front of you. So he says to us, well, it looks like the earliest I have is Thursday. And I go, like in a week. And he goes, well, and he looks and he goes, well, what day is today? And I go, Thursday. He goes, no, I mean today. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we pick a time slot, which is like an hour ahead of us. I'm like, yeah, I just want to get this done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to keep waiting. So maybe it's 2 hours from when we are. So Brian and I, we take the appointment. And of course he's like, if you need to change it, let me know. And I'm like, what are you going to do? You still can't fix it. And also, like, I need my security system to work. So we decide to go get hoagies next door. Because now we don't have time to do that much before a tech is coming. Maybe it was just an hour. And there's this elderly couple, and they only had high top tables left, and we were sitting at a low top. Also, because I can't do high tops, my legs are too short, and I just get really frustrated. And so Brian waited, and as soon as that table opened up, he's like, "You want to sit here?" Yes, I do. So she's like, "Do you guys mind if we sit with you guys while we wait?" And I said, "No, not at all." And her husband was like, "You're making friends everywhere you go." And it's so funny. They're talking to us, and they're like, "Oh, I never knew this place existed, and it's really good, and we've heard lots of good things, and blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Oh, nice." And they definitely sound like they're tourists, and we tell them where we live, and it's like 2 towns over, and they are like, "Oh," like they have no idea what we're talking about. And I was like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" Thinking, "Oh, we're in a tourist area, maybe." No, they literally live like 15 minutes away. But they were very, very sweet, and I think if I had actually been like, "If you guys want to stay and eat lunch with us, you're more than welcome to," that she probably would have been like, "Yes, let's sit with them." But it was just a cute little moment. And, you know, it helps restore my faith in humanity when you have interactions with people like that. You know, we come from very different walks of life. And I don't know anything about them. They don't know anything about us. But they were just like, "Hey, are you a kind stranger? Can we come sit here?" And I thought my timer stopped. I got real nervous. And so that was really, really sweet. So we did that, and then we get a call from Xfinity, and that's when the lady's like, "Well, how about doing this?" And like, we've already done all the things to try to reset it. Brian checked, and the batteries were fine, like, previously. And she's like, "So you're not going to go check that right now?" And we're like, "No." And they're like, "So you really want a tech to come out?" Yes. We've also had the same home security system since we moved into this house. My daughter is 7.5. We moved into this house, almost 7.5. We moved into this house when I was 7 months pregnant. We've had that same unit for 7.5 years. Meanwhile, our Comcast Xfinity remotes work just fine, and they made us replace those and replace the boxes and all these other things more than once since we lived here. I mean, we don't have cable now, so that's a moot point at this point, but it wasn't. And it was very frustrating. Also, like, our internet, they made us replace our router. And now our signal strength is like a fraction of what it was. So there are times where I can't even, the Wi-Fi drops while I'm using it in my own home. And I'm like, cool. And then I got a text from Xfinity last month, or maybe this month. And it was like, "Hey, just so you know, we've increased the speeds." Okay. The speeds don't really matter if I can't get on the internet. If the power is not strong enough for me to, like, find the router in my own home. And before anybody goes, just move the router somewhere else. Even when I am, like, 3 feet away from the router, it's still just problematic. Let me take another sip of water real quick. Lukewarm tap water. So anyway, the tech guy came, and then my husband sent me a message. I ran upstairs, and he's like, "I know this guy." I was like, "Oh." And he was talking to him, and he said something, and then he's like, "Yeah, and my wife died." And Brian was like, "Oh, sorry, man." Like, it was like he was in such an awkward position because, like, you can't just be like, "All right, gotta go." Like, the guy's in our house. And it was just, like, he was like, "Oh, no, the batteries wouldn't have made a difference." And I'm like, "I know, but your customer support person wants to think, let's just do it." And then of course he couldn't get it to work, and I was like, well, this is going real well right now. But good news, our security system is up and running. It makes sound again, which, if you guys have been around for like a long time, like you guys are OGs, then when you heard the story about my neighbor breaking into my house, It's because I heard my door alert ping, and it doesn't ping unless somebody opens the door, which is how I knew that my door had been opened. And then when I went downstairs, I was able to see that she was outside. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, there's a WIP Chat somewhere. It tells a little story. But long story short, my neighbor let herself into my house while she was completely tanked. And police were involved. And it was just messy. And I despise my neighbor. The end. I think that was it for... Oh, no. No. So, we decided to, because it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday was opening weekend for the Orioles, and we don't have cable. So my husband had mentioned something about maybe meeting his brother, but then his brother never got back to him, and they were going to go to like a sports bar and watch the game. And we couldn't stream it on something local because it's within 100 miles, so it was considered a blackout, a local game, and it was blacked out despite the fact that, like, you could still see the Phillies. The Phillies and the Orioles are both, like, equidistant from where we live. But I was like, why don't we go to the Sinkhole? The Sinkhole is a bar attached to a bowling alley. But they always have sports going. And so he was like, fine. So we went. And he's like, hey man, can you turn the Orioles game on? And the guy's like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that channel. And Brian's like, I know they have that channel. They just didn't want to look for it. I'm like, well, that's annoying. So here he is, like, not able to watch game 1 or game 2 of opening weekend at this point. I feel like my colors are off. And also, fun fact about me. Sorry for all the cursing today, but also not sorry. I am definitely somebody who, like, I have a real problem with people who think that they are above the law, that the rules don't apply to them. I have a real problem with that. And this person was about to fuck around and find out. White truck parked in a handicap spot, no tags, no placard, nothing. I called the police. There were other things that indicated that this was also a person who believed they were above the law, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So I did. I called the police. I reported the car, and the cop calls me back and says to me, fortunately, even if there is no tags displayed, we cannot tow the car because there's no signs up that say towing enforced, which I'm like, that's bullshit. If you are parked in a parking spot that you are not allowed to be parked in, especially for something like you taking a handicap spot that doesn't belong to you, that should absolutely be something that should happen. I don't know the legality of that, and I wasn't gonna. So anyway, super long story short, they wanted to know if I had any affiliation with the restaurant or if I was a patron, because if I was somebody at the restaurant, they would have just asked me to find out if the owner was there and have them move it. And I'm like, well, you're supposed to, like, okay. So it turns out the guy who'd been sitting at the bar drinking long before my family and I came in, it was his truck, and his wife's like, you do have handicap tags. And he's like, I didn't put them up. So you knowingly parked in a handicap spot without displaying your handicap tags. And he was real pissed that he had to stop drinking and move his truck, which I'm thinking, as a police officer, shouldn't that be a little bit alarming to you too? That, like, man's just been sitting at the bar drinking. But okay. So, I use that as a nice little learning lesson to Briar, because despite the fact that this man did, in fact, have tags, he didn't have them displayed. And it was the only handicap spot for the parking lot. And I was like, there are definitely people who need this spot that you might be taking it from. And if it was just a minor inconvenience to this guy to have to deal with a police officer and go put his placard in his truck or move his truck, so be it. But I did the right thing. I know I did the right thing. And it brought me a lot of joy to be able to do that. But yeah, so the next day was Friday. We had morning ice. My husband and I, we have this thing. It's in Hershey. If you guys are ever in Hershey, like you're going to Hershey Park or whatever, they have a thing called the Hershey Fresh Market. It's like food stalls. Like I've heard them called, not food courts. but something similar to that, where there's just all sorts of different kinds of food, different kinds of vendors. There's everything from like, you just want a cheesesteak or a taco, to they now just opened up like a Jamaican stand, which my husband really likes the Jamaican beef patties there. A little bagel shop. Just, none of it's really exotic, but it's a good way to, it's like going to the food court at a mall. Like, everybody can get whatever they want, and you can all still be together without having to go get the same food. So we just grabbed that because it's only open like 3 days a week, which really sucks. And one of those days happened to be a day that he was off. So him and I went, and he grabbed himself a Jamaican beef patty, and like, I got a soft pretzel and like a fresh squeezed lemonade. Like, I didn't get anything super fancy. Well, I got soup, but in general, it's usually just like a grab and go situation for us. And it was really nice. It was nice to be able to have that time and go grab something good to eat and all of that. And then afterwards, after school, my kiddo had afternoon ice. She does lessons twice on Fridays, one of which is because it's show prep. And she is so excited, and they're doing such a good job. The kids are picking up on it really quickly, which is super fun. And I can't wait to see the show. It'll be in May. I'm really, really excited. She loves being able to perform and wear the fancy costumes and have her hair pulled back and all that stuff. And she just loves it, and I love being able to do it. Saturday, if you guys have contemplated, I'm actually going to stop this, and I'm going to tell you guys about my weekend next time. But if you've ever contemplated going to a retreat and you're not sure if that retreat is for you, let me just tell you, our retreat was 11 months ago. We're coming up on the second annual retreat. For the most part, all of the people that have come to the retreat live within a couple hours of the retreat location, with the exception of our one Canadian friend who, every time we do something outside of the retreat, she is joining us virtually. But we had our third or fourth meetup with a handful of the women from the original ACDP Diamond Painting Retreat from 2024. These women have been kind enough to open up their homes for a day, an evening, a weekend, whatever it may be, where we can come to their house, diamond paint, eat, cry, laugh, and go home. And if you are wondering, I don't know if a retreat is right for me, ours are really small. Last year we had 10 people. Right now we have 12 people. We can have a total of 14 people. And these are women that we all speak to each other regularly. We have built such a bond together. And, I know some of these retreats have like 40, 50, 60 people in them, and some of them are much, much smaller. We just struck lightning. And I really want you, if you think this is something that interests you and you are within a distance that you can travel or you are willing to travel, you are more than welcome, and we would love to have you. A reminder, it is open to women or, I don't know why I said it like that, but just adult. You have to be 21 and up because we can't have anyone under 21. There's alcohol and things like that involved. But we do a really good job of making sure that if there's any food allergies or anything else like that, that they're accommodated. I mean, obviously we do the best with what we can because we're just two like normal people. We're not like chefs. But Eric and I would love to have you if you would like to come. So if you are interested, please fill out the form. I will have it listed in the description below. Eventually we will have to close up those spots and just say, okay, well, we need to plan because we have to get food and all that stuff. But we would love to have you. And that's it. If you made it all the way to the end, since I was talking about lightning in a bottle, leave me a lightning emoji so they know that you made it to the end. If you guys like this video and you'd like to see more videos like this or nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. One real life, one virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come join the Sparkle Squad. While you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping or sleeping. Thank you guys so much for being there. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys!